So, for possibly the millionth time in my life, why can't real life just be a little bit more like fiction? Ugh. Hi everybody, Carla here, and so I've been off for last week. I didn't have a video last week, but I was going to do this video last week. And it's going to be a bit more of a somber, I guess, type video because stuff has been happening in the world, and I'm sure you've heard me mention this. I already did a video trying to cheer myself up from stuff that the world just throws at us that are awful, and everything just seems really bad right now for some reason to me. Maybe it's just the fact that I'm watching TV like all day every day, and I'm online all day every day, so these things kind of get to me a bit more than they do to most people, I guess. But I was going to do this video last week precisely because the world still was pretty much shit last week and I couldn't because of the weather. And then I decided, okay, I'm gonna do it this week. Yeah, I really have to do it this week because this week things got worse. And one of the things that, you know, affects me the most as far as this crappy world is concerned is there are so many things coming out recently, particularly as far as sexual abuse and sexual harassment of women and other victims go. Since the stories about Harvey Weinstein broke in Hollywood, there's been something of a wave. I don't know if that's really the right word for it, but there's been something of a wave of things happening and stories coming out about not just Weinstein but other people as well, and not just in Hollywood but in other industries as well. And as somebody who is a keen observer of the world, it really does affect me to see these things coming out, and there's been so much of it. And don't get me wrong, I fully support the MeToo movement, the feminist movement, and just I want for women to, it's a good thing for women and for victims to have this space, to be in a place now where they're not immediately, their accounts and their experiences are not immediately rejected as fake straight away, but at a point where people are believing their stories more. I think this is a positive step. I hope it is a turning point for the world, because this kind of bullshit with sexual harassment and sexual assault and rape and so many awful things that women have been going through for centuries, okay? This is none of that is okay, and it's about time. It's freaking 2017. It's about time that women gotta say and victims gotta say that would not be immediately dismissed because their abusers are powerful. I think we are in an incredible moment in our history, and I hope this moment is permanent, that it marks a permanent change in our culture, because it's not just Hollywood, it's also politics, and it's also private companies and large businesses and the judiciary, and there's so much of it coming out that I really, really, truly do hope that this is a permanent movement for women and for victims in the world, that we simply, as a society, decide right now, this is not okay. We're never going to let it happen again. We're never going to let it go unpunished again. I fully support this movement. I am glad that people who feel they've been victimized have found the strength, probably because of the numbers of stories that we're hearing, that helps them bolster their confidence, and it helps the victims just feel empowered to come out and say these things and tell us what's happening to them so that we can learn from it and it doesn't happen to anyone again. I think this is important. At the same time, it's really freaking depressing. Just watching the news and seeing the number of men who have done such deplorable acts, it really just hurts my faith in humanity, really. And I've had friends tell me, don't feel bad about it, there's good people out there. And I know, but when you see it in the context of the news and the internet and you're bombarded by it from every side, it's like, holy shit, this world is awful. And it also really hurts because some of these people that have been revealed to be abusers, or alleged abusers, I guess, but who have been revealed and who have confessed to doing things that are not appropriate in any circumstance. Some of them were people I admired, and it sucked. And I know that them being punished and them being, ostracized because of their actions is a good thing, in the sense that it allows for more women and it allows for more victims to actually step into their place and perhaps do a better job of it. It's easy to say, oh, don't feel bad for all the art that you lost because this man is a freaking asshole, but be happy that maybe a woman will be able to come in and show us her art instead. And I agree, that's very important and it's very positive, but at the same time, yeah, I admired those men. Many of them. I mean, some of them I don't particularly know, but I admired some of them. I mean, just look at Kevin Spacey, man. He was one of the greatest actors of his age, and he turned out to be a freaking sexual abuser of minors, and I just, it's so disgusting, and it hurts because I admired him. And there's John Lasseter at Disney. God, that hurt so much to know that he was doing these things. And I mean, just yesterday, Matt Lauer from NBC turned out, he got fired because of inappropriate sexual behavior in the workplace. And then through the day yesterday, all these stories started coming out of awful, unbelievable stuff that he did. And it is depressing, I have to say. I'm glad they're out. I'm glad they're not going to get the same opportunities that they've gotten through all these years anymore, because they deserve to be punished for what they did. I hope they repent and change their ways, that's all I can say, but it still hurts, because these people were part of something that I loved, and I never want the things that I love to be tainted by that sort of stuff. So I think that's just a human reaction. So instead of me going down the rabbit hole of all men are crap, I decided I need to cheer myself up, particularly when it comes to the male side of the species. I guess I really feel like I need to remind myself that there are good men out there that don't do this awful type of bullshit. And usually when I want to cheer myself up, I turn to fiction, because that's what does the trick for me, generally speaking. I think fiction is a lot easier than reality. And if you look at it, most of my favorite characters from fictional universes tend to be guys. Male, I guess, because I like dudes, and I don't know, I've always felt more connected to their sort of plight and their issues that they go through. And while I love me a great, strong, empowered, layered female character, and I hope there's more of them, and I hope that we get to see more of that in the future, because that's also part of the culture that promotes and enables these awful abuses. Most of my favorite characters are dudes. It's just a thing that happens, I guess. I don't know. And these characters often remind me that there are good people out there, and because other than turning to my family and my friends, who are all amazing people, particularly the male ones, because they're great. I haven't had the problems that so many women out there seem to have gone through. I haven't had to deal with any of the awful things that some women have had to deal with, and for that I'm very thankful and very proud of my family, my male relatives, my male friends, who are, I believe, are genuinely outstanding people. And they do give me hope, but you know, they're related to me, they're my friends, so of course it's a limited pool, and sometimes fiction helps me sort of widen it out, and just it brings back the hope a little bit that maybe there are people out there, there are men out there who aren't douchebags and awful people, and that the large majority of men are actually good, that they don't do this stuff, and that they respect women and other people, and they don't go around victimizing anyone. And that makes me feel better, because sure, they're fictional, but I do believe fiction has to be born in reality. So it tells me, at least, that even though I may not know every man in the planet, that the vast majority of them is good and genuine and respectful, and even in situations that might be a bit dicey, that they will do the right thing, and that makes me feel better. So what I'm gonna do today is basically do something of a reverse Arya Stark type thing, and I'm going to make a list, and instead of listing people I want to kill or people I want to destroy or people I want to get revenge on, I'm just going to list my favorite male characters in fiction of all time, because these characters give me hope for the future of mankind, and not just the males, but in general everybody. They give me hope that there's still goodness out there. There's a reason why I'm so attached to them, that they're great characters, they're great people, fictional people, and it makes me remember that goodness is a thing, and that you don't have to be perfect to be good. Because one thing I do have to say about this list is that not every character in this list is like 100% good. They're all layered. They have their issues. Some of them even do bad things initially, and things that I normally wouldn't like in real life if they were done to me or to any of my friends. But the thing about fiction versus reality is that in fiction you get a very clear input into what the character is thinking, what their progression is, whether they actually regret what they did and decided to move on and, you know, repent for it. That is something that you can see in fiction, because there's a structure, and you're on the outside and you can look in and see the entire structure, the entire progression of the character, their thoughts, their feelings, their motivations. That is something that we can't see in real life, unfortunately, so I'm not as eager to trust in repentance in real life. Like, I hope that the men who have done wrong things like this in real life repent and decide not to do it ever again and try to make up for it to the people they hurt. But I can't be sure. In fiction, I can be a lot more sure. So it's easier for me, I guess, to see that in fiction. And that's why some of the characters on this list may not have been the best characters to begin with, but they progressed, they developed, and eventually they got to a point where I just fell in love with them and was able to see the inherent goodness in them. And that's why they became my favorites, basically. So just keep that in mind. They might have done things that are wrong, morally and ethically and legally sometimes, but they eventually come to regret it, and that's why it's important. They're important to me, because I do believe in second chances, and in fiction it's easier to see when a person has changed than it is in real life, so keep that in mind. The list is, I think it's 30 characters long at this point. I try to keep it to a round number because OCD, guys. Anyway, I tried to keep it to 30. I might have missed a few, I don't know, but it's in alphabetical order by last name where available. And, you know, before I go on to read it, I'm just going to read it off. I'm not going to comment on any of them really, or I'll try to keep my comments to a minimum. But I'm very interested to hear from you guys. Tell me what your favorite male characters would be. I think this wave that we're seeing should also be a good moment for fiction to give us more male characters like these who are good and who will do the right thing in the end. So I'm interested in seeing what your favorite good male characters are. If they're not in my list, or if you agree with any in my list, let me know. I love these characters so much that I'm so glad to be able to share the fact that I love them, and just state for the record, I love these characters. I hope people in real life could be like these characters and could be as good as these characters. And I just want to put that out into the universe, just to make myself feel better. And I'll be glad to hear from you guys as well if you have a list of your own that you'd like to share. So please do that in the comments. And meanwhile, I'm just gonna read through this thing. I'm not gonna comment on them because it would be way too long. And I just want to get this out of my system right now, so that's what I'm gonna do. And I'm gonna start with number 1 is Poe Dameron from, of course, the Star Wars saga. Episode 9 coming soon. I can't wait to see him. Number 2 is Harry Dresden from the Dresden Files by Jim Butcher. A lot of people complain that he might be misogynistic at times, but I do think deep down he is a good guy, and it's less of a misogynistic thing and more of a protection thing, I guess, but I still love him. He's funny, he's great. Number 3, Logan Echolls from Veronica Mars, and I think he's one of the best character progressions I've ever seen done in a TV show ever, so that's that. Number 4, Artemis Fowl from the Artemis Fowl series by Owen Colfer. Definitely great character progression there. I love Artie, he is great. I just adore him. Number 5, Ariel Hiragisawa from Cardcaptor Sakura, the series. I adore this kid. I would marry him if he were real. Number 6, Toshiro Hitsugaya from Bleach, whom I adore. Every time he's on screen or on a manga panel, I just want to hug him. I love him. He's the best. Number 7, Jim Hopper from Stranger Things. He's a freaking national treasure, a hero. I cannot love this man any more than I already do. And I'm saying this now, but season 3 is going to prove it otherwise. I'm sure of it. Number 8, Mace Hughes from Full Metal Alchemist. Best father you will ever know. He loved his family so much. He's so great. I love him. I still cry for him. Oh god, it still hurts. Number 9, Shinji Ikari from Neon Genesis Evangelion. This kid has been through so fucking much. It's not even funny. And I know people make fun of him and say he's weak. I love him. I understand everything he's gone through. He's just a child and I adore him, and he came out the other side better. That's all I can say. Number 10, Uryu Ishida from Bleach. He's such a beautiful knight in shining armor. I just adore him. Number 11, Yamato Ishida from Digimon. I've loved this kid since episode 1 of season 1 of Digimon, and I relate so much to him because of his parents' issues and because of the way he is, and I just love him. Number 12 is Percy Jackson from the Percy Jackson and the Olympian series, as well as the Heroes of Olympus series, as well as the Trials of Apollo series, as well as the Magnus Chase and the Gods of Asgard series by Rick Riordan. Percy's the best. He's so much fun. He's so brave. He's always doing the right thing. I just love him. Number 13, Jaime Lannister from Game of Thrones. I love the Lannisters. Jaime's my favorite. I think he's progressed so well. I'm glad to see it. I hope he has a great storyline come the end of Game of Thrones. I hope he doesn't just die with Cersei. That would suck. Number 14 on that same line is Tyrion Lannister. I love him. He's so funny. He's freaking smart. Like, seriously, I think he's the smartest character in Game of Thrones, and I adore him for that. He's been through so much. I love him. Number 15, Theodore Laurie Lawrence from Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. Laurie was pretty much my first love. of all time. Really, I adored Lori. He's great. Number 16, Remy LeBeau from X-Men, aka Gambit. He's my favorite character in the X-Men series. I love him. He's so charming, but so good at the same time, so brave. He's just the best. Number 17 is Link from The Legend of Zelda. Every freaking version of Link, I adore. He's so great. He's so brave. He's pretty much the closest thing to a fairy tale prince there is outside of fairy tales, and I adore it. Number 18, Jamal Malik from Slumdog Millionaire. It's one of my favorite movies, and I think that kind of love and devotion and bravery is just unseen, and that's why I love Slumdog Millionaire so much, because it reignited my love for humanity, for purity and innocence. I just love it. Number 19 is Peeta Mellark from the Hunger Games trilogy by Suzanne Collins. You just cannot get any more perfect and good and wonderful and brave than this man right here. He is amazing and I love him. Number 20 is Sanosuke Sagara from Rurouni Kenshin. He was one of my favorite male characters. My first favorite male characters that I was totally obsessed with. Like, I adore him. He's such a great friend. He's just so funny, so much fun, and so brave and so strong that I can't help but love him. Number 21 is Will Solace from, again, the Heroes of Olympus series by Rick Riordan, as well as the Trials of Apollo series. Yeah, he hasn't been in Magnus Chase, I don't think. But Will grew on me because he's, for the most part, he was kind of a bit character. He was barely even mentioned, but he's grown on me so much from his one appearance in the first Trials of Apollo book. I love him. He's the best. I adore Will Solace. Number 22 is Han Solo from Star Wars, of course. How can you not love that man? He is so great. He grows so much. He becomes such a great friend and such a key ally to the rebellion. Number 23 is Jesse Swanson from the Pitch Perfect franchise. He didn't get much to do in the second one, but I fell in love with him in the first one. He's so great. He's such a nerd. And he's such a great singer too. I love him. Number 24 is Jin Takeda from Samurai Champloo. God, he's so great. He's so brave. He's so honorable. And he becomes such a good friend to both Mugen and Fu that is just... he would do anything for them, and I love it. Number 25 is Kurt Wagner, aka Nightcrawler from the X-Men. He's my second favorite X-Men character. I adore him. He's such a supportive friend. He's so much fun. He is so honorable as well, and just an overall great guy, and I love him. Number 26 is John Watson from the Sherlock Holmes series by Arthur Conan Doyle. I tend to prefer him in Sherlock, in the BBC series, because he's played by Morgan Freeman, whom I love. But I generally tend to like John over Sherlock in everything, so that's saying something, I guess. Number 27 is Ron Weasley from the Harry Potter series. Ron is my twin. I adore Ron. Basically, we could be twins, I'm just saying. Like, save for a few things, I have never identified with any other character so much as I have with Ron. It's amazing. Number 28 is, of course, my baby Mike. My baby Mike Wheeler from Stranger Things. I love this child. I love him. He's so great. He's my son. I just love him and want him to be happy for, ever and ever and ever. I love him. Number 29 is Nathan Warnos from Haven. He's such a great character. He has gone through so much, and just to see him grow as a character through the entire series was amazing, and my favorite thing about that show, for sure. And then there's number 30, and that is Yoda, of course. Look, it's a bubblehead. I adore Yoda. I don't know if you can count him as a male character. I mean, do we even actually know that he's male? I don't know. But I will take him as a male character. I just love him. He's so wise. He's always so protective of his Padawan, and he taught me so much that I have to include him in this list. So yep, that's pretty much it, my list of 30 of my favorite male characters that I feel give me hope for humanity. Hopefully, fingers crossed, this means that we're getting better. This wave means that humanity and society as a whole is growing and learning and doing better, and I hope that males out there actually learn from this and become the good people that they are. Like, those who aren't good at the moment, who are the minority, by the way, should learn from this and understand that the things they're doing is not okay. And meanwhile, the large majority of men out there, this list just helps me visualize them more easily. The fact that there are so many good men out there that also want to help women and victims and want to be good and want society to be better and are supportive of this movement that is happening. So that's just pretty much what I wanted to say today. If you have a list of your own, let me know in the comments. I'm always welcoming people talking to me about new fandoms and stuff, so please do that. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you like my stuff, please subscribe to my channel. I'm always happy to see people liking and subscribing and sharing and just commenting, because I think these topics are important. I think fiction is important, not just to me, but to the world. It helps us be better, and that's why I decided to make this list, to remind myself that there's better out there in the world. Even though these are fictional, the world sort of reflects that as well. So please do comment and share and subscribe. I'm always happy to see people subscribing. It helps a lot as well, so please go ahead and do that. In the meantime, you can find me on social media. I am on Twitter and Instagram at girlsareweird with underscores between the words, and I am on Tumblr at girlsareweird with hyphens between the words. You will probably find me ranting a lot about this topic because it's literally everywhere, and it's just, there's so much of it that I just can't ignore it. So you will see me talking about this on social media if you go and follow me there. So go ahead and do that if that's your thing. And you can also find a Facebook page for this vlog at facebook.com/FreakingNarnia. And of course, remember to visit my main website at FreakingNarnia.com. All my videos are up there in case you ever miss anything and want to catch up. Everything is uploaded there for you to go ahead and look at, so please do that. Also remember that I do have a Redbubble store where I make art from my favorite quotes from my favorite fandoms, and then you can use that art to print on different merchandise such as t-shirts, coffee cups, computer covers, bags, all sorts of cool neat stuff in there for you to check out and maybe purchase if you're in the mood. I recently added a couple of Stranger Things 2 quotes art that you can also check out, so please stop by and maybe purchase something. It really does help me a lot. And yeah, that's about it for me today. I will see you guys next week with another video from all the way in freaking Narnia. Bye guys. Believe women. It's important. Since September, they have their number 5, Ariel here. Number 11. I hope he has a great favorite movies